Hello everyone, my name is Hannelie and I'm currently here in Johannesburg in South Africa. And with me I have beautiful Nasrin Ejner, and she's from India, and we want to explore together today the aspect of wings to fly. And we specifically are reaching out to all women who are alive in 2020. Welcome, Nasrin.
Hello, Hannelie.
So, Nasrin, why are you excited about and passionate about this topic of wings to fly? Why is it relevant now?
Oh, I think that uh, like we come from a part of animal kingdom. So when you talk of that, we think of uh, wings. When we say wings, we think of flight, we think of reaching the sky. But in the animal kingdom, you know that we have ostrich and emu who are big birds, and they have beautiful wings, but they can't fly at all. uh, Similarly, when I draw this analogy specifically to women, and we say education gives us wings to fly, okay, I would say it's giving us the wings, but can we fly? Is it enough for us to fly?
Mm. So, how is that relevant currently in the world? So, if you say that, I'm curious about, yes, like you said, the ostrich and the emu and chicken, for example, as well. What
Hmm.
is it that,
Yes.
what is it about women specifically currently in the world, here in 2020, the end of 2020, that makes it relevant that we need to even look at this now and to explore it together? Can you give us a bit of
So
context for it? Because I worked with women in Africa and in Turkey, and I'm aware you have worked with women in your parts of the world, in India.
okay, so when I say education, so I have worked with women in India who are very passionate about studies, and we have our policy makers who have put right to education for girl and boy child, um, and I've seen that women go up to as high as education in medicine and in engineering. Okay, now what happens is after graduation, okay, I'm going to give you a small example of a graduation party of a boy graduating with an engineering degree, and his party is, the question will be, so are you going to do a master's in US, or are you going to do business? What's your next plan? Which company are you joining? Now, just come back to the graduation party of a girl, of a lady engineer. She has passed out with equal percentage, same college, same ranking, same degree. And at her graduation party, so have you seen a good boy to get married? When are you settling? Oh, your biology clock is ticking. You have studied enough. Time to start a family now. So, for a lady, the the social system has no milestone for a career or work or her financial independence. It's simply absent or missing or just overlooked.
Mm. So, how's in your experience now living in India through this year with COVID, where
Mhm.
where we have social distancing and physical distancing and isolation and the likes, and we cannot leave our homes? what's happening? I'm curious, so what's happening now inside the homes? Because you now shared what's happening with a girl and a boy and the difference, how we are treated, or the expectations at least of others about us. And
Mm-hmm.
those studies have given us wings. It still doesn't make sure we are flying. But now what's happening at this time in the world in such a scenario? Because now everybody's in the house. What's happening inside the house? What's expected of the woman in the house? Even though she maybe have a career.
Yes, yes, Hannelie, that's uh, such an amazing question right now to ask at this point when the world is going through pandemic. I will particularly say with a very sad feeling that this pandemic has strengthened the patriarchy uh, hands. There is so much greater emphasis on domestic and care work by a woman. Also, decline of certain industries, and this has affected the well-being and economic freedom of women disproportionately. Now, what I mean here is that children and elderly, okay, are primary responsibility of a woman here. So, with schools and colleges are closed, uh, there is work from home, and there is also schooling from home. So all the responsibilities now are on the women. So the women are just leaving the workforce or unable to cope with the unforeseen, you know, challenges that are coming on their way.
So then that definitely, I mean, we all are aware that all of us, regardless of male, female in the world currently, because of this unexpected events happening this year, it has a toll on our overall well-being, mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. And what you share
Right.
now is adding on to that, because it's not a case of equality. It's not like we all have the same circumstances, to approach what's busy happening in the world. So it adds on that perspective of the woman must cope, and she must multitask, because we are so good at multitasking. So maybe we've set ourselves up for that, but I don't see it as a weakness. But yet you bring out something else. In South Africa, for example, and other parts of Africa, we have discovered, and I do, have lots of conversations with people in other parts of the world, usually, and even now in this time, even more so on Zoom. And what was clear from the start is that our social conditions are very different everywhere in the world. It's not the same for everyone. You can't have one shoe fits all. So that by itself, it started showing out even more than before the question of inequality of on all levels. So it's not only about just women, male, female, but what you're sharing now is kind of as if, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in my assertion here, is that the current events in the world is showing us that we are slipping back even more so to where we came from. So where in your experience do you see, and in your understanding and wisdom, do you see, where did it start changing for women? Where women could go out in the world and start testing their wings. When did that change happen? And why do you think we're going back to it now, like before? In some areas.
Okay. So Yeah, yes, you're right. Like we made substantial progress, and now we are coming backward, right? Is that what we are
Yes,
saying
yes,
right now?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm curious about when do you, um, in what decade do you see it started changing that women began to realize they have wings, whether it was through education or anything else?
Okay, so as far as I'm thinking back, since India got its freedom in 1947, okay, yes, we had a lot of lady women freedom fighters and all, but I'm explicitly talking about an ordinary women,
Mm.
right? The housewife of 1950s, okay, they were encouraged to study because we had our independence and India was free. So we had all this thing put in place where women could progress. Also, if in India, I've seen that large number of women are employed by industries of such as tourism, hospitality, retail, right? And this has been very uh, growing industry in these few years, and that is where there was maximum intake and employment of women. During COVID, this industry has hit the most: tourism, hospitality, and retail. Yes, you would
Mm.
agree with me,
Yeah, no,
you
definitely
know.
so.
Yes, because this is the first time in my lifetime where I am seeing that the planes were in the hangar all the time.
Mm. Oh, yes.
Ye-
Yeah.
Yes, you know, and so this this has brought about a kind of layoff for women workers and opportunity for women to get independent source of income. It has kind of it's a regressive phenomena happening, like for even for online education, there is so much demand from a mother right now for to be present for the child, that it has kind of disrupted the whole dynamics around this um, and this is all unpaid work what she's doing at home.
And
So now she, from an independent financial caring member of the household, she has become a dependent member of the family.
but unrecognized, so to speak.
Hmm?
But
Yes.
unrecognized. So I want to take it back to our humanness, our human beingness of, every human being in my experience wants to be recognized as a human being and be heard and seen and received by others. And what you are speaking about is we're taking a step back into just expecting things from women specifically and have a specific view on women's role in the world and whatever goes with that. But we don't see the woman in her power, that she's an equal partner in a relationship, in a marriage, in an organization. Um, so this current process is just making us slip back into that where women couldn't vote, for example, although they might vote now, but they still, it's the humanist part that are being robbed again, just in a different way, perhaps, because of the current situation. So I'm curious now, Nasrin, how do we how do we change that? How do women, the average woman there on the street, how does she approach life in a different way at this current moment? With the current scenario, how does she, is there any hope for her to not slip back? And how can she truly stand in her power to say, here I am, I'm a total human being, and I'm not only here to to fulfill certain roles. I want to do something that makes my wings fly. And to do that, I need to find something within myself. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes. Uh, it's a very tough question, really very tough question. And I also see this as an opportunity to be able uh, to raise uh, to raise a male child differently, you know.
Mm.
I think patriarchy is a system which has come from generation after generation of putting the man first or ruler of the house first, you know, and things like that. So I also see this as an opportunity for these women to you know, or mothers to train their male child to be an equal partner in this household. Like when you have a girl and a boy, you start gender equality as a mother first, and then it comes up in layers. So that is a long term vision I see. And also I also think that a slow uh, change, you know, when the elders of the house will, especially the elder women of the house, will take a stand and support younger women in the house and say the men can take responsibilities of household and can take equal partnership in raising the children.
Mm.
That is when the change will come about. Not just the you know, uh, education. Okay, you give education, but you will shackle her legs so that she will not be able to fly. So before flying, she has to first, you know, waste all the time in breaking the shackle, and then she is able to fly. So
Ah.
here we are now training our children, our girl children, that yes, she's studying also. At the same time, you're training your boy child that you are, I am raising you, where you also be able to make a cup of tea for yourself and also for your wife or for your, you know, female colleagues. It's okay for you to make a cup of tea.
Mm. And I want to take it even further. I think it's
Yes.
important for women specifically, um,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of the age, to really understand that how important personal development is in our lives.
I agree.
When we go and study a degree or any other course, a functional course, a technical course, doesn't matter, it's good. But being learned is not about being brilliant, because if we don't have the environment where we can apply it, like you shared in the beginning, it's kind of useless. You know, if we can't fly with these wings, we just sit perched in the tree. It doesn't help us at all. But that woman has to start to take control over their own lives, and not this, and stop blaming perhaps to the system, because the system is not going to change if we blame. But when we start changing the system is when we start taking responsibility for our own lives and say, yes, I want it different. Just by having the intention by itself is very powerful. To say, I want to learn about myself, not so much about other stuff like engineering or tourism or medicine. I want to learn about me. What is it in me that will give me wings? That will make my wings
Yes.
stronger, that I have the courage to actually fly and take off from that tree. That I won't be like a chicken in a pen which cannot get out of the pen, who must just lay the eggs. Because they will
Right.
get rotten anyway if those eggs are not, if something's not done with the eggs, they will get rotten. So we've got all this potential inside of ourselves. And you know, I actually want to, you're making me very excited about this stuff. I love my heart's really in human and organizational potential, but we have to, for organizational potential to actualize, human potential must actualize first within that structure. It's just a structure and organization. So when we take that step that we just have that intention first, it's already step one. Because now we're telling the whole world and the universe, everything, that I'm here, I'm showing up differently. Even just by breathing, I realize I can show up differently. But it reminds me of an oak tree. You know, the acorn has all the intelligence to become an oak tree. And if you eat an apple, inside of the apple, you'll find the seeds. And those seeds are an orchid of apples for the future. So everything we need is actually inside of us, but we need to learn about it. We're not, our environments don't allow us to do that necessarily. And now we're adding on all these other duties, I'd call them duties, of fulfilling these other roles. And we can't even use our educational wings to really let us take off, but it's important how we see the world and our place in it. So I think that's the first paradigm shift women must have, to just know there is something else possible. I can choose differently, I have a different intention, and then to explore what's possible. How can I now get to learn about me, myself? Because my mental health and my emotional health and my physical health and my spiritual health is up to me. It's not about up to other people. But something incredible happens when we just realize that inside of ourselves, just that understanding. So Nasrin, now I'm asking you, what is it that what steps can women take for their inner wings to really become strong? That they have the courage to firstly recognize this in themselves, that they actually have wings to fly, which is not only education giving them. What are things that they can do in that current considering the current conditions? This might be a very difficult question, but considering the current conditions, it's not a utopia, so it's very practical. I can think already about 3 things.
Yeah. Yes.
I'll tell you one. Surround yourself with women who inspires you. Even though
Yes.
5 minutes a day you spend with them, whether you give them a call or whether you're able to use something like Zoom or not, but just surround yourself with women who can make your wings grow stronger. You are not alone. That's what I'm trying to say. You are not alone in this. In your community,
Yes.
reach out
Yes.
across the
Community.
Yeah, if you're allowed to walk across the street in current conditions, go and visit somebody, even if it's to have a cup of tea, but not to complain and blame, but to explore together what can we do together to make our wings strong, because we have humans around us. We are social creatures. And even if we can't go out of the door, just give somebody a 2-minute call and say, hello, how are you? That you can just hear their voice, another living thing. That's one thing by itself in current conditions. And when we're tired, to say to them, look, our vulnerability is one of our biggest gifts, actually, in this situation. Because it gives us energy. If we learn to direct that energy of our vulnerabilities and our fragilities, it's powerful. And we don't have to hide how we are truly feeling. No longer anymore. We've been too quiet for too long, but with somebody that we can trust. So it's not about we vomiting all our stuff onto somebody else. It's simply allowing ourselves to express how we truly feel. And we're doing those with people that we know wouldn't judge us, who are not, they will hear it with a loving heart. One person like that in our lives, we need at least one of them. So we have to find that type of person around us and the bigger community. That was just one.
Yes, I absolutely agree that the power of community healing is immense. From I say when I say community healing, it really means that surrounding yourself with the women who empower you, who encourage you, and you know, uh, especially people who strengthen your mental wellness, I would say, you know.
And your emotional, how
For
you,
example,
and your emotional, because how you feel about yourself is just as important.
yes, yes, that's where I'm coming. So when I say mental wellness, I mean a holistic, you know, uh, what do you call it? Holistic view of your mental illness, like your spiritual, your emotional,
Mm.
and your physical health. Women, I think, because they take so much care of everybody else, they stop taking care of themselves physically first.
Mm.
The neglect is at a physical level first, and then it slowly seeps in. So I would definitely agree with you that they should start taking care of their uh, physical health and their emotional health, their mental health. Over here also, uh, most important thing I feel is uh, being able, or I would say being open to the fact that you are not superwoman, you know,
Mm.
and it is okay to say no.
That's a fantastic one. That's a fantastic one. Boundaries, yes, healthy boundaries, and the ability to say no
Yeah.
without feeling guilty.
Yes, yes, without feeling guilty. It is okay, I'm tired today. Can I do it later? Or can I do it another day for you? Not today.
Yeah. Are you bringing out what
So,
I call empathic overload? It's everybody else's emotions and feelings, and like you say, complete workhorse, and just we don't have to be everything for everyone, and we don't have to do everything. We can ask for help and to say, I need to
yes.
sit down. I can't do this now. You're right. And that's, if you
Hmm.
the word no, I love the word no. You know why? Because around it says on. If you swap the letters around, if you read from the other side, it says on.
Oh, yeah.
It means
Yeah.
you're onto something good, powerful here. So when you're able to say no, and that's for me, no, in that sense, it's not I'm just stubborn, I don't want to help you. It's not about that at all. It's about your own taking your own,
Uh,
say no, in this moment in time, I cannot do this, for example, or I don't want to do this for whatever reason, but it puts me on another path of realizing something else is possible. And when we ask that
True.
question, what else is possible? It's so empowering. Because when we are stuck in a certain situation or a scenario, I just think the last 8-10 months was a very good example of that. Everybody was feeling like that all over the world, not only us, it was.
Hmm.
But when we're stuck in a situation, we think there's no other way out. We just think this is it. But the moment we start asking questions without looking for answers for them, like, for example, what else is possible? That opening up that you spoke about
Hmm.
earlier, being open, it opens us up to other possibilities, other ways of thinking about our current situation, but more so, other possibilities of how we can stand in our power, say no, how we can take care of our own health and our own well-being on all levels. It opens it up. Something happens in our minds. It's opening up. Because when we ask such questions, we're not specifically looking for an answer now. We might not find it now. We might only find it tomorrow or the day after or 2 weeks later. But it opens us up, and it's very empowering for our souls to do that. Extremely, because we're recognizing that we are not happy with the current situation without fighting it. Because fighting it won't help us either.
Hmm. Correct. Correct. Yeah,
And
exactly.
I personally feel that's where we've gone a little bit, we just didn't know better at the time, where we had to fight the system, from a woman perspective, to be recognized in the world. But it always reminds me of a wise man who comes from your parts of the world who said, it's like a camel. First we are asleep, So we think this is the way it is, like we just accept everything and we'd rather be drained and so tired and no energy and complain and all those things. We're asleep. And then suddenly we wake up and the lion comes out and roars. So it starts complaining, which is good. Something is happening. Or at least speak about it, that expressing our true self and expressing how we feel. But the part after that, once we've done that, the child in us comes out to play. And that's where the beauty starts.
Yes.
That's where we become curious. Child's curious. Look at children. They are so curious. They are fearless. We need all those things inside of us. It's not gone. They are playful. They don't take life so serious, but they are curious. They explore other ways, and they do things that will make us freak out because we think it's dangerous, for example. But something inside of them are fearless, and I think we all need that now. And especially when women are in such situations that you've explained earlier. When we discover that child in ourselves, that playful part and the curious part and the fearless one, now we can explore other possibilities. And now our wings start to grow slowly but surely.
Grow slow. Yes.
And it's not we have to grow our wings either. It's not about putting pressure on ourselves for that either. It's taking one step at a time. And if we look at our feet, where is your feet facing, Nasrin?
Forward.
Exactly. So we leave the past behind of the patriarchal system. We take a jump away from it, like a quantum leap away from it. Because when we move our bodies, it's also good for us. Just to turn around and look at in another direction by itself, help us to get out of that stuckness. But our feet are facing forward. And that's where we're moving towards. We might not know where to yet, but we must just keep moving. And when we get stuck, we jump into another direction, just at our body's position, because our body has incredible intelligence inside of itself. And when we change our body's direction, just move the house around by itself, if you can. Just you move the furniture around. It shows there's movement happening in your environment, even with the current conditions, which is not the utopia. Small things like that can happen to get more into our own power, but also to see life differently. And some magic stuff then starts to happen when we just have that, to jump into a new direction when we're feeling stuck, and that our bodies can feel it. Because our bodies might keep us back, because it remembers the old stuff, the stuff that's behind us, but yet our feet are facing forward. So Nasrin, I have another question for you. This is now very spontaneous.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I love where this is going because I feel the energy. So I want to do a little experiment on you. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so just sit there and breathe normally and relax. Nowhere to go to, nothing to do, especially nothing to do. And you all listen to us, please do it with us. So you just sit there.
Yeah.
There's no ambition, nothing. It's just you sitting there. Now I want to ask you 3 things. What is currently working in your life, Nasrin? In your life and in life generally as well. What's working?
As a woman?
As you, as a woman, as your soul expressing itself as a woman, yes, you. Specifically as a woman, yes.
Yes. So as a woman right now, I have rediscovered myself in this pandemic. When we beginned this podcast, we talked about MU and the ostrich, who are big birds and have wings and cannot fly. And during the pandemic, when I was homebound, completely inside my home, I discovered that I I discovered in a way that right now I am in a small cocoon. And as days and months slowly pass by, I knew that in this cocoon of my home, I'm strengthening myself, I'm growing stronger and stronger. And I had this beautiful journey of connecting with people all around the world, wonderful women around the world, on Zoom, on Google Meet, and and when the lockdown opened up in India, I was able to go out for the first time, and I felt like a butterfly with my wings fluttering and going from one flower to another flower. And I was so happy to meet people. It was like going from one flower to another flower, and it was a very joyous feeling. Here, whenever this dark moments in life comes, we should always think of ourselves in the cocoon, and think that this is a cocoon and a beautiful butterfly is waiting for its wings to flutter and come out.
Wow.
So this is what I have done for myself.
Now I've got another question for you. There's 3 questions. Number 2 is, what's exciting in your life right now?
Exciting. Wow. Okay. So
No,
I am
let's do this
currently,
one. Sorry,
ah,
let's do this one differently, Nasrin. Let's imagine
okay.
yourself as one of those women. Use your imagination, sensory and mental. You're one of those women who have all these duties, who have all these expectations, who are so tired.
Mm-hmm.
Cope. Imagine yourself like a woman like that. What would be exciting in her life right now, or could be exciting?
Uh,
Conditions now. One thing that could be exciting in that conditions.
I think a small stretch of hand from a friend to say, I am here for you, would be sometimes just nice to hear. If I'm here, like, uh, I know that when women are in this position, or like when I am here in this position, the world outside does not know that what is the turmoil going on in my life or in my mind right now. So I would be happy to, to have someone reach out to me and say, hey, don't worry, I'm here for you.
Mm. Support and encouragement and understanding, and somebody listens.
Yes.
So that,
Listening, someone listening.
would you say that's available to most people, that they could actually ask for that?
Uh, in my part of the world, asking for something is is not seen as a great thing.
Okay.
So there is a lot of depression, and this, by yes, we are talking about women and all, but I would say it's even more for men also, because it's very hard to speak about a weakness, or you know
But we
uh,
just said it's excitement, so it's
just to,
not weakness. So see what I'm trying to say?
yes,
We change our mind
yes,
about it. We will receive it.
correct.
We don't ask for it. And nothing in the world, we cannot blame a system forever. Nothing in the world will change if we don't change the way we look at it. And if we don't verbalize that.
Yes.
So I just want people to
I
connection between the possibility is there, yes. We come from a time and a space where it was seen as a weakness, but in fact, it's like that no word. No was also considered as a weakness or being stubborn, or women, you just don't want to do stuff, for example. But it's the same like that no word, that you're onto something. when you start asking for help. You don't have to go at
Help.
but when we say help, we don't need to say to somebody, oh please, I need your help. We can simply reach out to somebody to say, I want you to support me this time. I want you to encourage me. I do go into depression, or at least make me aware of it, because sometimes we go into depression without realizing it. So to just ask somebody close to us to say, when you notice I'm going into that state again, just gently tap me on the shoulder or give me a call on the phone. I speak to you and you are going into that dark space. Just remind me that that's not the only way. And that's not necessarily
very true
for me. So it could be a very simple act. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, Nasrin, what is strong in your life currently right now? The last one. What is strong in your life currently as a woman? And somebody else as well. Just play with us.
As in, do you want me to role play of someone, or just
No.
me
This
as
is you
me?
now. This is Nasrin. What is strong in your life currently?
Okay. Currently, I have this is I would say this is the shackle that I have broken personally, and I have I'm living by this mantra: ask and you shall receive.
Oh, very
Yeah, I'm literally living by this mantra. So I'm very happy to go around and say, I need help for this, or I need support in this, or can you teach me this? There are a lot of things I don't know, because the new normal has come with new set of rules to play with, and I don't know the rules. I don't know the way forward. I'm not even sure if this is the game I want to be in, but I'm just preparing myself for it and say, um, yes, please, can you show me the way forward?
That makes us.
So I'm asking.
And that strengthens our wings without us realizing it.
Yes.
That we can have that courage to take that first step off that branch. To start.
Only you can do that.
Exactly. Nobody else can do it for us, and nobody can fix us. Nobody can do it for us. And when we speak about support in this context, we don't expect other people to do stuff for us. Is we want them to encourage us as we are taking the first step. Because
yes.
if we say support, it's one of those general words. We expect people to do stuff for us, but we're not expecting them to do anything. So we don't need to see it as a weakness when we ask, because it's not about them doing something for us. It's them encouraging us as we take our next step, every step. And when we then go into spaces of dark feelings and the likes, or hopelessness, or just being completely tired and overwhelmed, is to remind us there is another.
Very true.
That's what it's all about: encouragement and support. So Nasrin, I want to take it even a little bit further now. If you just sit with,
this is getting very exciting for me.
Okay, now sit well, otherwise you will fly off your chair now. So everybody to just sit for a moment. Just sit for a moment. And focus your attention on your own breath. Just for a moment. You are alive, am I right?
Yes.
You are breathing, am I right?
Yes.
Who is doing the breathing?
Me.
Nobody else is doing it for you, is it?
No.
While we're breathing, we are alive. A reminder for us that we can strengthen our wings. So when we do get in, and it's not to judge ourselves or to criticize ourselves, We are all human, for whatever the scenario is. It's just to leave the room, go and sit somewhere, just take a few moments to breathe and connect to your own breath and realize you're alive and nobody else is breathing for you. And the same applies to your wings. The moment you start put your attention that you have wings, you can start feeling them even in your shoulders and your back. You can put your arms outside to the sides to feel your arms. They could be your imaginary wings. Move them up and down. Just create some movement in your body. That's already a step in the right direction. A very simplistic thing to remind us that life flows through us and it's not happening to us. Because when we believe that life is happening to us, we think all these bad things and we can't change anything. But it's very empowering from the inside out when we discover, like our breath, life is happening through us. And we have the ability to change anything in our life if we surround ourselves with the right people, if we ask for help, if we realize that we are still alive, right? Just focusing on our own breath. Those three things by itself will help us to take flight. But I want to suggest something else now, Nasrin. What about doing a workshop on Zoom for those who would like to explore how they can actually, through experience, now not somebody telling them what to do, make their wings stronger. Like a 45-minute experience. And if they know somebody who don't have access to something like Zoom, to invite them to come over for that session.
Yes.
Something like that. Where we can
sure, we can do that.
Experience things and test and strengthen and also cultivate beautiful relationships with other people who might we not even know yet, who can support us along the way. What about something like that?
Wonderful. Yes, wonderful. We can do that.
And I think it would be wonderful if we invite other people, even if they have access to Zoom, but they would not necessarily join something like this, who we know is really struggling on their own, overworked, overwhelmed, dismissed, who they truly are with all these duties and responsibilities, not knowing what to do next, just tired. Anybody like that would be wonderful. So Nasrin, if you have one message, and we will share our contact details at the end of the podcast, that people can reach out to us as well. What message is it that you would like to leave with everybody for today? If there's one specific message for women specifically, especially in your environment, when we consider all these factors, socio-economic, political, physical, personal health, relationships, total well-being, what is it you will share with the women?
There's not one thing, but I have a lot of things to say. But yes, on a closing note, I would say that when a woman supports women, magic happens. So instead of seeing as competition or comparing yourself from one woman to another woman, if this whole women community comes together to support one another, to uplift one another, then magic will happen.
Yeah, we've got proof of that. And ladies, I want to tell
absolutely.
I've got proof of that between me and Nasrin, how we met. From different parts of the world, different experiences. And we were brought together by a man, by the way, a mutual friend. That's by itself.
Yes.
I would say to women as well, look at men differently, because there is something that's called the law of precedence, and it means that how I see you is how you will act. So if I start changing how I see you and how I look
Correct.
and how I talk about you, you start to respond in that new way to me. It works. You can try it out. Even the most difficult clients, the most difficult people in your life, start doing it with them, change your view of them, and it's magic, like you said. They start reacting and responding to you in a different way. You get what you receive.
Absolutely.
So I would say to women, number one, we need to start looking at men differently. They can't change if we keep on looking at them as oppressive and the likes. Number one, magic happens in them that they can't describe by themselves during that process either. We awaken something in them when we look at people in the way we would want them to treat us. Never forget that, even between women itself as well. And like you so beautifully said, Nasrin, we're not competition. You know what? I want to share a little. I wonder if I should share it. It's very interesting about explaining the difference between the masculine and the feminine, which is in all of us, whether we're male or female. That's just that aspects in us. The outgoing part versus the internal part of ourselves. With a sperm, it takes 1 million sperms to fertilize one egg from a biological perspective. So it's no wonder men are competitive. But women, she said, just sit back and relax. The egg knows the sperm will come to fertilize her. So when we start now to see the world differently, of us women have everything inside of us to make things grow. Isn't that true? It grows inside of us. Life grows inside of us. So whether we have physical children or not, whether we have projects or ideas, doesn't matter what it is. But when we realize that we can draw to us what we need, instead of running after things, life also starts changing. And then when we start looking outwards in a different way, those things that we actually require to make our dreams come true and the help we need come towards us magically. But we can explore that at another time. So thank you, ladies, and even gents who joined us here. It's not a male bashing thing. It's also not a feministic thing at all. It's about all of us being human first. Then comes all the ways we differentiate ourselves, to express ourselves in beautiful ways, whether it's race, gender, culture, status, money, doesn't matter what it is. But first of all, we are human. And when we come back to our humanness and our own breath, magic starts happening. So thank you very much for joining us today. And Nasrin, thank you so much for setting the scene so passionately and beautifully for us to explore this. And I would really love to explore that we share an experience with the ladies on how we can.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Hannelie, for this wonderful opportunity to be part of your podcast. And I am thrilled to hear it.
Thank you. And we will leave, like I said before, we will leave our contact details at the end. And we will definitely share the upcoming spontaneous experience about how we can all strengthen our wings to fly and to really take off that branch and see the world from above like an eagle, not only as a chicken ear scratching in a pen in one place, and really strengthen our wings. Thank you very much, everyone. We're looking forward to hearing from you on how you experience what you're experiencing, and don't judge it. Doesn't matter what it is. It's just what it is. And share with us what you are going through, and then can give us context to, to share a meaningful experience with you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.